better to welcome locals and tourists alike into Judah Square than Rastafari king and spiritual leader Haile Selassie. The 2.2-meter statue is part of a series of interactive public artworks throughout Knysna, supported by local tourism and the art community. They want to market Judah Square as a more popular tourist attraction.
This is one of my proudest moments because it's the biggest piece that I've done, and I've done it for the community, Rastafari community, and that is my excitement, just to do something positive and to leave a legacy for our community. And I know that's going to attract a lot of tourists for the future, so yeah, I'm over the moon.
Because we know we was being marginalized, and because of our way of life, growing dreadlocks, smoking dope, people used to reject us, but we start from scratch and this is where we end up. So what's happening today is just, how can I say, another plus on our whole development. With this, we know it will, people want to come and see and touch and maybe want to take pics. So yes, I think this will help us increasing more numbers, you know. But yeah, we're looking forward for more people to come, and especially the domestic people, you know, not only overseas.
Please welcome Master Teacher Clyde Clarke.
Good morning.
Morning.
How are you today?
Not bad at all.
Okay. It's a pleasure meeting you again. Beautiful. Thank you.
I retired from teaching with about 2 barrels of old magazines that I collected, because I used to use a lot of magazines, old magazines, in the classroom. And I got the idea of doing papier-mâché without using any paint at all. So I started tearing up the magazines and I started applying them to the grill of the fan. For instance, if you look at this, no paint was applied to it. The coloring and everything with the colored pictures, you tear up the colors pictures from the magazines to get the color. The next stage now was to do the mask without using the old magazines. I experiment a whole lot, and I find that to cover an area of the armature, which would be the grill of the fan, I would just tear up strips of paper. Then on top of that now, I would put the paper pulp, which would give it concrete-like strength. And that led to moving the mask a little further. Because of the wire support system, you have a unique and a very neat, already done armature. Because we are living in a throwaway society where we take all these things and throw them away by the roadside, and they end up in the dump and they end up become environmental hazard when they have use. So all you do with this now is you apply layers of paper all over the grill of the fan. That means you tear a strip of paper, dip it into the paste, put it on. You go for your paper pulp now, where you beat the paper to a pulp. And it's that you're going to use now to form your nose, eye, mouth, and so on, and to put the texture on it. And it is finished. You just paint it straight black, and then you get bronze acrylic paint and just brush it on over it. And it has a kind of metallic look. I did a piece of sculpture with this texture, and I didn't like how it looked. But then again, I find that it is effective if you use it on the head of the sculptural pieces. So you find now that I started applying these texture here. And I think I can show you a sample of the textured piece that look like the piece of sculpture is suffering from some disease. I think I still put it one side, you know. You want to see it? See how it looks? And I didn't like it because it looked like the thing has measles or some disease. but I find it now more applicable if you use it on the hair. So that texture now I say, I'm not going to use that texture for the body anymore.
What is it made of? Like it's paper?
Paper pulp, paper pulp.
Lebane Serenge, popularly known as Rasta, is hosting an exhibition of up to 600 artworks at the Museum Africa in Newtown.
My exhibition, it's opened up like last week on the 27th. We've been preparing this since last year because it was a bit blocked by the COVID regulations and stuff. So it's a big exhibition that is gonna turn maybe my life around because of the exposure that I'm having here in Museum Africa.
Visitors will be greeted with a life-size clay sculpture of Rasta created by Dr. Lunga Gumede.
The sculpture was done by Dr. Lungelo Gumede, all the way from Durban. I met the guy when we were touring for Zola Music and this sickness and stuff, fundraising, yes. So I met the guy there. He did a sculpture of Zola. I've done so many sculptures of big prominent people. So we talked about one day we were gonna do a collaboration of some sort, maybe an exhibition and stuff. So I saw it fitting also to let me highlight my friend and say, brother, can't we do this? Then he said, you know, well, yes, I'm in. So that it's a part of collaboration when he did my stature as well. So I'm so very happy also to be honored with a big stature, life size like this. It means a lot to me. I like this stature. It's art. It can't be 100% because art really has got critics. Yeah, you have to practice each and every day art. Yeah.
Rasta is known for his controversial paintings of celebrities and politicians, but he is seemingly unfazed by critics surrounding his work.
Someone who inspired me a lot is my grandmother, because during school holidays we will come all the way from villages and plum trees in Myanmar, come and buy all those pieces of fabrics, plain fabrics. Then I would to sketch them, maybe big 5 zebras. Yeah, then she would follow with colorful threads there. Then she will go back to the village and sell those art pieces to other villagers. I saw the gap with this painting, with people that don't treasure like with a painting. When people pass on, we always see a tombstone in the cemetery without maybe something that maybe family will keep. So I saw that gap, which let me do the paintings for the deceased. People, they take it sometimes personally with me, with Rasta. You can't be painting there because sometimes you mispaint and stuff. Because with painting also it's a process, it's not a one thing off. So when we work on a painting, you have to go over and over it again until it becomes nicer. Because sometimes when I'm in front of people, the other eye can be bigger than the other. So when you take a picture and post it, people will be complaining on the other side, Twitter, saying, you know, it's not him or her. So yeah, I think now they've noticed that these paintings, they will mean a lot in years to come, in the history of South Africa especially.
One of the sections of the exhibition is dedicated to 27 Nelson Mandela paintings, who he started painting the first time in high school. Gumede hopes to one day open an art academy to teach young children how to paint.
I started painting Mandela, if I can go back a little bit, when I was at school. Mandela was released from the prison. Then when I went home, I saw Mandela on the news there. So I sketched Mandela. The following day, I went with the painting sketch to the school. So everyone, like even the headmaster, had to call me, who's this? I said, it's Mandela. So like, oh, we know you are an artist, we can't say no, it's not Mandela. So those paintings that are hanging, there is 27 paintings just to symbolize the years that he spent in the prison. Yeah, so I think they are so very iconical. If you can check them, they've got a story. I hope I will get some funds so that I can build my own art academy. That's my dream, which to have that art school. Because each and every time when I go to my community, kids If you can see kids, they're waiting for me. They ask me how to teach them how to paint and stuff.
Alright, so this video is going to be a little bit different than my others. Firstly, I want to thank Skillshare for sponsoring this video, and I want to go a bit more in depth on the processes of building a guitar in this video. And although I'm going to be explaining my steps for the most part, don't take this as an instructional video or a guide on how to build a guitar. There's much better resources, even videos here on YouTube that will do a much better job explaining that. I just kind of want to let you guys in on what I'm thinking when I do build a guitar. So it's been a while since my last colored pencil guitar project, and I thought since I've got a bunch of colored pencils left over in that reggae coloration of red, green, yellow, and black, I thought I'd try taking a stab at a bass guitar. So this is the colored pencil reggae bass. If I pour all of the necessary resin at once, it's going to exotherm and heat up like crazy. The epoxy is likely to crack in those conditions, so what I'm going to do is step pour this in layers, and it'll probably take about 4 or 5 pours to fill this up completely. Instead of placing this piece of wood in here right now, what I'm actually going to do is place this piece of foam that I covered in tape in here. Now, I'm doing this because I think I'm going to have to lower the section where the wood will eventually get placed. If I put it in right now, it won't be at the correct depth for the cross section that I want from the pencils. I've showed my router sled jigs in my other videos, but the way it works is the router sits in this track and moves back and forth to give a level cut to whatever's beneath it. I usually will use a pretty large mortising bit for this, like a 1 or 1.5 inch bit, and this is obviously my favorite part of any guitar build. Got the body roughly cut out. Now I'm going to use this oscillating belt sander to shape the body to get it where I want it. This sander is probably one of the pieces of equipment that I use most during any guitar build.
great. Rastafari. One of the founding members will give us a tour of our history in his community. As we step into the village with the boys, Micah invites us to the museum to speak about our history and further understand the link between Rastafari, Jamaica, and Africa.
Yes, one.
So when you hear the music, that's Naya Kum.
Yeah, that's Naya Kum
and Kumina.
Yeah,
original drumming from the ancients of the city of Jamaica. What's your name, Party?
He says that you are all in the army.
Oh.
Yes.
Rastafari army.
Yes, one.
Ja army.
Yes, one.
Marcus Garvey.
Marcus Garvey.
Ras McCunnin.
Ras McCunnin.
And talk about the IRIE who has never even stepped foot in Africa and how we can accept Africa as our birthplace, or we cite up Haile Selassie as our teacher, our father, our God, our king, you know? So it's important that ones know that, man. We don't have to really live in Ethiopia to say Ethiopia.
Yeah.
You know?
Because Africa is born in IRIE.
Within, inborn thing.
Yes, sir. Spiritual DNA.
Rastafari. And the great.
Yes, man. Watch out now that you look for the great. See, you know.
Yeah, I'm close to this stage. I'm getting.
Check out that. Yes, man. Yes, man. All right, now, so this initiative started now from a group of families.
Right.
Yeah, where we were all living and working separately from each other.
Right.
And it's like we're really looking to ourselves because at a certain time we were feeling unfulfilled. You know, feeling like we wanted more.
Right.
You know? One of the things that we thought that we were missing was a sense of collective security. We were developing and building something that was for us and by us, and something that we could represent, you know, and something that we could use to represent ourselves as well, you know, and speak of ourselves, because in a lot of places in the world, a lot of books about Rastafari, a lot of documentaries, however, it is not our voice, you know, it is someone else's interpretation. So we created this space now to have our own voice.
Absolutely.
And to have our own interpretation that can host people and, you know, explain to them what it is we're doing and Rastafari and the fullness and thing, you know what I mean? So that is the whole vibration of why it is that we are here, you know, and this is a part of our redemption too as well. Maybe 20 years ago, 30 years ago, you could come to Jamaica and say, oh, you're coming to some Rasta
village. I feel this positive vibration.
Yes, that wouldn't be there, you know? To be at this point now, where it is now that we could develop something like this, to speak our own words, you know, and change our words if we feel a mind, you know, because we said that yesterday, but what was right yesterday, today could be wrong.
Sure.
You know, so
open-minded.
This allows us to be a living reality. Yes,
absolutely.
Because we can mold and design our destiny now, how it is that we want it to go.
And the best way to fulfill our destiny is to fully understand our roots. Starting in one of the first Rasta teachers, the Gong, Leonard Howell.
This is the vision of the Gong in our space.
Sure. Thank you, Marlon.
Now, Leonard Howell now is one of the first interpreters of Rastafari, you know, to come out with a clear philosophy of what Rastafari is.
After Marcus Garvey.
Yeah. So he started around in the early 1930s, yeah, and started to teach the people about His Majesty and the fact that His Majesty is the true and living King. I'm sure that you have already noticed that we, Rastafari, use I instead of me to emphasize the subjectivity of each and every one. I and I totalize the oneness of Jah in every human. I and I means that the Most High dwell within us all and we are one people. It was mainly about all the practices of what we call modern sustainability. Yes, and this was in the 1930s and 40s. They're planting their own food. They're not on the grid. They collect their water. They're selling their own produce to get money. They're building their own clothes. They're, you know, creating a whole nation out of their living, you know, and taking care of their own needs, you know. So in this space, as I'm saying, it's about the redemption of all of those initiatives and all of those energies and all of those people that really had a vision of Rastafari and wanted to see this vision manifest. The fullness is that we see everyone as Rastafari, you know. We see everyone as potentially Rastafari. True. It's just that they don't know it
once you have love inside, is Rastafari.
Exactly.
Rastafari is really the God within oneself, you know what I mean? really recognizing I and I as the living beings that have the right and the creation within oneself to make the change and be the change. So Rastafari is really owning one's dominion. So it's the Godhead this, right? That's what it really truly means.
Coolness, man.
So I'm down on the levels there. Check
Don't listen now, it's a river.
River? At least I gotta wash my face or something. Let's go check the river, bro. Wow, my brother. Talk about living, my G. I like to live like this. Yeah, man, let me go down a little bit more.
Yeah, man. We choose to live in the earth and even acclimatize ourselves to the environments that we're in. You know, learn about the trees, learn about the herbs, learn about the birds and the flora and the fauna, and how it is that we can find a way to create a symbiotic relationship out of this interaction. And this is why we choose to be here, you know. We also look into the trinity of all things. We look at yesterday, and we look at today, and we look at tomorrow.
Sure.
This is about now too as well.
Absolutely.
The fact that honoring the ones who were here before us and the work that they have done, and the fact that we are here right now and we must secure the future.
Yeah. Joke, man. Okay. Yeah. Like that. See? This is our work. Our work is good. Down is a tile. We cut and car. Tile for car. Then we put like that. Then we use the shells also. Shells from ocean. The Rasta movement. Yeah, Rastafari movement.